What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Waiver Wirequeen. Today, we are going to talk about some running backs you should sell high and get them off of your team and get whatever value you can because I don't predict that these guys are going to have good seasons. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you enjoy listening to the podcast, go on over to Spotify, Apple, and Google. Make sure you listen and also leave a rating for us and let us know what you think of the podcast. So let's jump right into it. So these running backs are on this list because simply they're probably not going to have good seasons. And it can be for several different factors. It could be due to situations that have occurred via free agency so far. They may have signed other running backs, quarterback play. The running back just isn't living up to the hype. And again, quarterback play, because some of these guys, the quarterbacks just aren't that great. And then also injuries. If you're always injury prone, if you're always injured, you're simply not going to help your team out. Health is wealth. Availability is very important in fantasy because if you're not in my starting lineups and you are capable of getting me 20 points, then you have no value to my team because you're not playing. So I got to get rid of you. So sell high on these running backs. Let's start it off with one of my favorite running backs, David Montgomery with the Chicago Bears. I'm shocked as hell he is on this list, but nonetheless, he is on this list. I don't care if you're my fave or not. If I got to move on from you, I'm going to do what I have to do because I need to win. I want to win, and I need to make sure that my team is playing at the highest level and we are competitive. David Montgomery, the year before last was very solid, so that's 2020 season. Really good. This past season, not so great. Some of that was due to out of the lineup due to injuries, and then also you have a rookie quarterback. The offense just wasn't moving well. One game, it was just at an all-time low. Okay, it was just really, really bad. And then I think they like Khalil Herbert a bit too. Not saying he's going to replace him, but he's going to be in the mix because he played very well in replacement of Montgomery when he was out dealing with injury. So I still like Montgomery, but if I can trade him and it's the right offer that I am interested in, I'm going to do what I have to, especially in my Dynasty League, because I'm looking to make sure that I have the best lineups every week, okay? Dynasty is very addictive, y'all. And right now, I'm just not as high on David Montgomery as I've been in previous seasons. And again, it's several factors. And at the end of the day, he doesn't have the highest value in the receiving game, and I really love PPR. I don't do standard anymore. It's PPR or nothing, and we're going to do PPRs because we can't live without the fantasy. But nonetheless, let's talk about his stats. 225 attempts on the 2021 season, 849 yards. That was a career low, but guess what? It was more than I expected considering he missed games. There were some games that they just couldn't move the ball. 849 yards is very respectable for the season the Bears had on the offensive side of the ball. Nonetheless, as a young running back, you want to be moving up when it comes to your stats. You don't want to be moving downward early on in your career because that's just not a good look. And again, that's why they have Herbert in there, and Herbert is looking like someone that they like, and they're going to be looking at closely this season, and he's probably going to take a few carries from Montgomery. Probably not a lot, but a few. But nonetheless, he averaged 3.77 yards per carry, which it's not, to me, it's not good. It needs to be 4 and up. I'm sorry, it just does. And he had 7 touchdowns, which isn't too bad. 42 receptions, 301 receiving yards, and no touchdowns. I need to see touchdowns. So for Montgomery, again, I am trying to move on from him. I have him in one dynasty league. I'm not drafting him in my redraft leagues. And again, I still need to see more from Justin Fields. I'm still not 100% sold on Justin Fields, I really need to see more from him in order for me to determine what Montgomery's value is going to be, because part of Montgomery's inconsistencies were due to Justin Fields' play. And again, he was a rookie, so understanding. But again, he was a rookie, so I understand. But however, I'm going to need him to be better, because that will position Montgomery to be better. I do expect Fields to make some improvements this season, but I don't feel like it's going to be enough for me to want to keep Montgomery on my side and on my pretty much on my team. So I'm looking to move him. So if you can move him, then do so. Let's talk about Josh Jacobs with the Raiders. You just have a whole bunch of running backs in that backfield. Kenyon Drake. They signed Brandon Bolden. Don't know why they did that, but they did. And it's probably because of the coach. They have Jalen Rashad still on the team. So they have a lot of running backs. Obviously, Jacobs is the lead guy, and that's simply what it is. He played 15 games last year. At times, there were some moments where you thought maybe he wouldn't play due to some injuries he was dealing with, but he ended up playing. So I had to deal with that a lot. I have him in my Dynasty League. Obviously, I made the playoffs because the team is really good, but I'm really trying to move him. I've been trying to move him the last 2 years, and no one is trying to take him. I'm going to probably have to take a hit in the trade in order to move him, which I'm not willing to do, so I'm dealing with it. But if you can move him because there's someone out there who's going to want him, then you should do so, because production has been going down. And again, you want your running backs to go up. Like, you only have a certain amount of years as a running back, and you don't want to already, top out. And hell, you still got about 3 more years left. It's like, come on now. But let's talk about his stats. Played 15 games last year. And again, some of those games, it was like, ooh, is he going to play? What's going on? And he did play. 217 attempts, which was a career low. 872 yards. That was also a career low. So he's having career lows already, and to me, I think it's still early on in his career, and he shouldn't be having these career lows early on. He played 15 games, so it's not like he missed a whole bunch of games. So that, to me, has to change. We'll see what McDaniels does with that offense. We all know last season with the Patriots, they ran the football a lot. A lot of that was due to the rookie quarterback. But let's see what the Raiders do, because if he's going to continue to have career lows, then he's not going to be as valuable, and it's really going to be hard to trade him. And when you sell high on him, you're really not going to get what you think he is worth. So then you just got to bite the bullet and keep him, or make the decision, should I trade him, even though I know that I'm not going to get the value that I feel I should get. So you got to consider that too. He averaged 4.02 yards per carry, and he had 9 touchdowns, which I really love. But again, Josh Jacobs should be over 1,000 yards every season. Well, with Josh Jacobs, I just need to see more from him. He has less rushing attempts, but he's starting to be more involved in the receiving game. He's starting to step that up a bit, but at the same time, I still need to see more than 217 attempts. As for his receiving stats, 64 targets, 54 receptions, which is very good. 348 receiving yards, which is a career high, so that's good. He's moving forward in that, so he may be slightly better in the PPR league, but not still anything mind-blowing, and no touchdowns. So again, I need to see more from him. And then they've added some other running backs. And it makes, I don't think these guys are going to be taking a whole bunch of snaps from Jacobs. But at the end of the day, they're bringing other guys in, and your attempts and everything is going down slightly. So again, I do want to see what McDaniels is going to do. Maybe that will change my opinion based on what McDaniels does. But for now, I'm trying to sell high as hell on him. I'm trying to get him up out of I'm trying to get him off my team, guys. I'm trying to move on from him because it's just not working. Let's talk about Clyde EdwardsHelaire with the Chiefs. I want him gone. I want him gone. I want him gone. I want him gone. Okay? I've been trying to trade him since the end of the season. I should have been trying to trade him before the season ended because he just hasn't been good all season. Has not been great. Of course, injuries. The Chiefs try to use other running backs probably because EdwardsHelaire hasn't performed. Solid rookie season, but this year, no. He's got to go. I have him on my team. I paired him up with Mahomes because my goal was to pair Mahomes with Kels. I couldn't do that, and I couldn't get Hill, so I added EdwardsHelaire at the time because he had a good season and not so good this year. McKinnon led the backfield in carries in the AFC Championship. The one with other guys, Gore may be in the mix a little bit, and they just signed Ronald Jones. So I'm expecting Ronald Jones to get touches, and I'm expecting EdwardsHelaire to get touches, and Gore slightly. But at the end of the day, that's too many people, and if they trusted EdwardsHelaire, then they most likely went out there and signed Ronald Jones. So that's a concern, and so I'm just trying to move on from him. I'm actually looking at managers who have Ronald Jones because you're gonna have an issue. You're gonna have that issue. Well, is it EdwardsHelaire because he's the hot hand right now, or is it Ronald Jones? I think that's what it's going to be. And I simply have no time for the headache. I'd rather go on and look for someone in the draft or acquire some other asset that's going to help my team because my running back situation is solid. So I can afford to move on from EdwardsHelaire, which I plan to do because it's just not working for me. Let's talk about his stats. Again, 10 games on the 2021 season, 119 attempts, 517 yards, 4.34 yards per carry, which isn't bad. However, it still was a career low for him, and he had 4 touchdowns. And again, they have all these other running backs in the mix because he just hasn't been able to snatch that starting job and retain it, okay? And that's a problem. And then again, Ronald Jones is in the mix. I don't know what the hell the Chiefs see because I haven't seen anything yet. And I got to put my glasses on, y'all, because I'm trying to understand what the hell they was able to see in Ronald Jones when he played with Tampa. Hasn't been great to me. He may have had a year where he played very well. I think that's more of the Tom Brady factor. Why? They could have gone into the draft and added someone. Just, to me, we'll see what this signing does for them. I just don't understand. They're bringing in players who simply couldn't live up to expectations on other teams. It's like, that's not going to change just because you got Mahomes. These guys are not going to live up to the hype of at which you thought they were going to. Just because you signed them, they wasn't doing anything on their previous team. What the hell was going to change with the Chiefs? But, I'm not a Chiefs fan, so that's something y'all got to deal with. Let's talk about Miles Sanders, running back with the Eagles. Miles Sanders is always hurt. And when you have a player who's always hurt, you don't have production. Availability is very important, okay? Health is wealth. If you're not available, I cannot use you, which means I got to go find someone else, and that may mean I may have to try to add someone off waivers. If not, I may have to make a trade, which is going to cost me some of my assets because you are always hurt. And it's every season with Miles Sanders, which is why I stay away from him. He should be a player that you sell fast as hell. You're not going to get the value you want, but you may play on the Eagles fan. If you have one Eagles fan in your league, go on and play on them. They'll be glad to take them off your hands. But at the end of the day, it's just inconsistent. He's very productive when he's on the field, but he ain't ever damn on the field, y'all. He's always hurt, and that hurts his value. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I just can't deal with players who are always hurt, and we all know injuries are a part of the game, but at the end of the day, I just simply have no time for Miles Sanders being hurt every year. I just not going to do it anymore. He played 12 games 2021, 137 attempts, career low, 754 yards, career low, 5.5 yards per carry, very, very good. However, no touchdowns. Just didn't work for me. Then you got Boston Scott, you got Jordan Howard, Kenneth Gainwell. They're all in the mix getting opportunities simply because Miles Sanders is incapable of remaining healthy. It's not good when your starting running back is always out. And there's some teams who have dealt with that. I'm a Giants fan. We deal with that every year. If you are a Panthers fan, you've been dealing with that for what, the last 2+ seasons? It's hard. It's hard to win when, especially, you feel like your best player is the running back and they're never on the field. Most likely your team's not doing well because you probably invested a high draft pick in that player. Now with Miles Sanders, he's not a top 10 running back, and I'm not gonna even have him in my top 20 because he's not productive enough for me because he simply isn't able to remain healthy. So I don't even have him in my top running backs list because, again, if I can't play you, I just simply cannot use you. So you have no value to me, and that's what you have to understand when you are drafting your team. It's no longer about what you did in previous seasons. 2 years ago, you was the top dog. But the last 2 years, what have you done for me lately? You haven't done a damn thing but make me put you in IR, and now I'm trying to scramble and find other players to compensate for you being out. Stay away from those players. I don't care if they come back this season and have a good year. Go and get you somebody who is consistent, who's available, and producing. Again, with Christian McCaffrey, I don't know why people keep drafting him with the first pick. If you want to ruin your damn season before the damn season gets started, go on and do it. I won't do it. I'll go with someone else. Saquon Barkley, another one. He's always hurt. It's unfortunate. Not their fault they always hurt, but that's just what it is. And when you are drafting your team, you know that it's coming, but I just don't understand why people keep doing it. But nonetheless, subscribe to the channel, y'all. Go on and subscribe to the channel and leave some comments. Let's talk about Chris Carson. He's another player. Chris Carson can be very solid, but he's always hurt. I do believe at some point Rashad Penny is going to take that backfield. They re-signed him to stay with the Seahawks. He came on strong at the end of the season. He probably helped teams who picked him up late and took a chance on him in the playoffs, if you picked him up and used him, or if you used him in DFS. He surely helped your team out. But at the end of the day, Chris Carson missed most of the 2021 season with a neck injury. And he ultimately had to have neck surgery. And he played 4 games. Chris Carson, he's always injured. We do know he can be very productive, but the injuries are alarming. And I would sell as soon as you can because you just don't want that headache. You simply don't. And you just got to do what you have to do. We're not tied to players. You got to make the best move for your team, especially if you are in a dynasty league. When you are in a dynasty league, this is your franchise. This is your organization. And you have to do what's best. So you're thinking like these GMs in today's NFL. And when they are ready to move on from a player, they do so. Don't wait till the player is on a decline and then you want to move on from him because you're not going to get any assets of value for him. Chris Carson, I don't feel like you're getting much for him, but you can still see what's out there. You're better off targeting a team that has Rashad Penny because there are teams with Rashad Penny. The Seahawks say that Carson is their lead back, but we'll see for how long. I do hope he's healthy because I want him to be healthy because I really like Chris Carson's game, but he's just incapable of staying healthy. 54 rush attempts, 232 yards, 4.3 yards per carry, which isn't bad, and 3 touchdowns. Again, the injuries are alarming, and a neck injury is alarming. So you have to monitor that. If you can trade for someone else or draft picks to acquire a young running back in this draft class because it is very deep at the running back. You'll be able to get a running back who can help your team. Health is wealth, guys. Availability is important. I expect Chris Carson and Rashad Penny to split carries. I just do. Y'all make sure you subscribe to the channel. hit that like button, leave some comments, and share with all your friends who love fantasy football. And going over to Spotify, Google, and Apple, leave some ratings, and then enjoy the show. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast.